After exploring the imperial heart of Hue, we begin our journey south toward Hội An. Along the way, we stop at the Lập An Lagoon to see the oyster farming activities. We continue south along National Route 1, climbing toward the legendary Hải Vân Pass. We glide into Da Nang, crossing the iconic Dragon Bridge as it arcs over the river like a golden serpent. By late afternoon, we arrive in Hội An for a 2-day stop, ready to explore the charm and character that make this ancient town unlike anywhere else in Vietnam. We wake to a soft, rainy morning in Hue, the city wrapped in a wet mist as we climb aboard our bus. With the windows streaked by fresh rain, we begin our 130-kilometer journey south toward Hội An, our home for the next 2 nights. We continue south along National Highway 1, the road curling between mountains and sea. Before long, we pull over at Lập An Lagoon, a vast glassy stretch of water cradled between the emerald slopes of the Bac Ma Range and the white sands of Lung Co Bay. This lagoon sits in a rare coastal depression formed where mountain runoff meets the slow tidal breath of the East Sea. Over thousands of years, sediment carried down from the granite peaks settled here, creating a shallow, mineral-rich basin perfect for aquaculture. Today, Lập An is famous for its oyster farms. Wooden stakes rise from the water like a forest of thin silhouettes, marking the lines where local families cultivate oysters in the nutrient-dense mud. At low tide, you can see farmers wading out to tend their beds. At high tide, the lagoon becomes a mirror reflecting the mountains above. It's a quiet, almost otherworldly stop, a blend of geology, tradition, and the slow rhythm of coastal life. I move closer to the cluster of fishing boats that had just returned from hauling in their oyster lines. Along the way, I step onto thousands of opened and discarded oyster shells from previous farming activities. Up close, I can see thousands of dark, mud-streaked oyster shells strung together along fine nylon ropes, the standard long line method used in this lagoon. Each shell acts as a seed surface where new oysters attach and grow, forming dense clusters that the fishermen lift from the water during harvest. Small groups of people work to bring in the oysters and then offload them into piles before sorting and processing them. Some husband and wife teams work side by side to unload their boats. Here, a woman pushes a heavy wheelbarrow piled high with freshly harvested oysters toward the shore, emptying the load onto a growing mound where the catch will be sorted, graded, and processed. Elsewhere on the lagoon, I drift past long, narrow fishing boats and the round wooden coracles anchored close to shore. Looking out across the water, a forest of wooden stakes rises from the surface, the skeletal framework of the lagoon's oyster farms. Each stake anchors long ropes or mesh lines beneath the water where oysters cling, grow, and fatten in the nutrient-rich shallows. From a distance, the stakes look almost sculptural, but up close they reveal the quiet, methodical rhythm of the aquaculture that sustains this community. Lập An Lagoon is a brackish mix of freshwater and saltwater. Sediment washing down from the Bac Ma Range settles into the basin, forming the soft, nutrient-rich mud that makes this lagoon ideal for oyster farming. Its shallow depth and sheltered shape let sunlight warm the bottom, fueling the biological activity that sustains the entire aquaculture system. What looks like a peaceful stretch of water is really a living landscape shaped by geology and tide. Leaving Lập An Lagoon behind, we rejoin National Route 1 and begin the long climb toward the Hải Vân Pass. The road rises steadily, winding between forested mountains on one side and the vast sweep of the East Sea on the other. With every turn, we gain altitude, the air cooling as the coastline drops away below us. It's a stretch of highway where the landscape opens up in all directions, jungle-covered slopes to the right, open ocean to the left, a dramatic gateway to one of Vietnam's most legendary mountain passes. But just as we were climbing toward the Hải Vân Pass, fate had other plans. Our anticipation of those sweeping coastal views and historic mountaintop bunkers was cut short when the road suddenly came to a standstill. 2 trucks had collided in the worst possible way. The uphill truck had slipped on the slick pavement and slid into a ditch on the right side, its cab jutting across the lane. The downhill truck had nowhere to go. its wheels pressed directly against the other trucks, locked in a metal-to-metal standoff that blocked the entire pass. What should have been a dramatic ascent turned into an unexpected mountain impasse. With the pass completely blocked, we had no choice but to turn around on the narrow mountainside road and head back downhill. Our driver pulled off an impressive 9-point turn on the cliffside pavement, and once the bus was facing the right direction, we all climbed back aboard. It was a real disappointment to miss the Hải Vân Pass and its legendary views, but at least we were able to reroute through the mountain tunnel and continue on toward our destination. We soaked in the sweeping views of the mountains and the East Sea as we descended the pass. Near the bottom, we rolled past a small train station where a wild monkey has figured out the perfect routine. Show up around 11 a.m. every day and the station staff will feed him. So there he was, perched patiently, waiting for his daily snack like a regular commuter. We continue on toward the Hải Vân Tunnel, a 6-kilometer passage carved straight through the base of the mountain. Once through, the landscape opens up, and before long we roll into Da Nang, ready to see and cross the city's iconic Dragon Bridge. We pulled over on a nearby road to capture some sweeping views of the bridge, and of course grab a few selfies, before merging back onto the main route that leads directly across it. The Dragon Bridge of Da Nang isn't just a crossing, it's a symbol of the city's rebirth. Completed in 2013, this 6-lane steel giant was built as part of Da Nang's push to transform itself from a quiet coastal town into one of Vietnam's most dynamic cities. Engineers shaped the bridge into a soaring golden dragon inspired by the mythical creatures of the Lý dynasty, symbols of power, prosperity, and good fortune. Its construction was a feat of modern engineering, more than 8,000 tons of steel, a spine of interlocking arches, and a lighting system of thousands of LEDs that bring the dragon to life each night. And on weekends, the dragon performs, breathing fire and water over the river, turning the entire waterfront into a gathering place for locals and travelers alike. Today, the Dragon Bridge stands as Da Nang's signature landmark, a fusion of mythology, artistry, and engineering that captures the spirit of a city always looking forward. Just downstream from the Dragon Bridge rises the Truong Thi Lý Bridge, its single leaning pylon and sweeping fan of cables, giving it the look of a sail catching the coastal wind. Originally a modest crossing from the French colonial era, it was completely rebuilt into this modern cable-stayed design as part of Da Nang's push toward a new, forward-looking skyline. From here, we ease our way back onto the main road that leads toward the Dragon Bridge, letting the traffic pull us into the flow of the city. As we roll onto the Dragon Bridge, it's easy to get caught up in the spectacle, the golden scales, the sweeping spine, the way it stretches across the Han River like a creature frozen mid-flight. But beneath all that artistry is a remarkably functional piece of engineering. This 6-lane bridge was designed to keep Da Nang moving, linking the airport to the city center and easing the flow of traffic across the river. Every curve of the dragon's body hides the steel trusses that carry thousands of vehicles each day. It's a rare moment where a bridge isn't just practical or beautiful, it's both, and you feel that balance as you drive right through the heart of it. As we continue across the Dragon Bridge, the dragon's spine rises and falls beside us, each golden segment catching the light as if the whole structure is breathing. Traffic hums along its 6 lanes, a reminder that this isn't just a showpiece, but a vital artery connecting the airport, the beaches, and the heart of the city. And as we reach the far end, the dragon's head curls behind us, and we ease off the bridge, slipping back into the rhythm of Da Nang's streets with one last glance in the mirror at the creature we just drove through. As we leave the city behind, the road leads us straight into the Non Nuc Stone Art Village, an entire stretch of workshops where sculptors carve masterpieces right on the roadside. Giant Buddhas, mythical creatures, and polished marble figures line the street like an open-air gallery. You can hear the tap of chisels and see clouds of stone dust drifting in the sunlight as generations of artisans keep this 300-year-old craft alive. It's a place where the drive itself feels like moving through a living sculpture garden. After a full day on the road, we finally roll into Hội An, the lantern-lit heart of central Vietnam. We make our way to the Hội An Field Boutique Hotel, where we check in for our 2-night stay, our home base for exploring the charm, history, and magic this ancient town is known for. Stepping into the reception, I am greeted by the friendly staff. The space is filled with warm wood, soft lantern light, and that unmistakable Hội An charm. Just beyond it, the dining area stretches out, calm and open. From there, we head down a quiet hallway to my room, a cozy retreat with clean lines, soft colors, and all the comforts waiting after a long day of exploring. It's the perfect place to settle in and let Hội An work its magic. My room was wonderfully spacious, anchored by a huge, comfortable bed and plenty of open floor space to spread out my belongings. It even came with a full bathroom, making it an easy and relaxing place to settle in for the next couple of nights. My room sat just steps from the small swimming pool, tucked behind a lush screen of tall ornamental banana plants and bright tropical heliconias. The greenery created a natural tropical buffer, close enough to hear the gentle splash of the water, yet private enough to feel like my own little retreat. As you enter Hội An's city center, you immediately step into the protected ancient town area, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its preserved architecture and pedestrian-friendly streets. A short walk from the main streets brings you to Lantern Square, a small public space located near the Tuban River. The area features a seated old man statue, a common photo spot for visitors. Around the square, lantern displays are set up throughout the day, with additional lights added in the evening as part of Hội An's well-known lantern tradition. Our first stop was at the Fujian Assembly Hall. Built in the late 17th century, it served as the meeting place and spiritual center for the Fujian Chinese community who settled in Hội An during its time as an international trading port. The hall is dedicated primarily to Tian Hao, the sea goddess Ma Zu, who was believed to protect merchants and sailors traveling across the South China Sea. Inside the complex, visitors pass through a traditional three-gate entrance into a courtyard filled with symbolic sculptures, incense coils, and decorative miniature landscapes. The courtyard also includes small decorative models, such as the miniature Great Wall, added as cultural motifs rather than documented heritage pieces. The main sanctuary houses altars to Tian Hao and other deities important to Fujian families, including the god of prosperity and the fertility-related statues often associated with blessings for children. Much of the architecture reflects typical Fujian design: carved wooden beams, lacquered panels, dragon motifs, and ceramic reliefs imported from China. Today, the Assembly Hall stands as one of Hội An's best-preserved Chinese community structures, offering a clear look into the cultural and religious life of the Chinese diaspora who shaped the town's history. At the center of the Fujian Assembly is the main altar dedicated to Tian Hao, also known as Ma Zu, the sea goddess worshipped by Fujianese merchants for her protection during long ocean voyages. Fujian traders began honoring her here in the late 1600s, when Hội An was one of Southeast Asia's busiest international ports. The altar features her central statue, flanked by attendants and offerings, reflecting her role as a guardian of sailors, traders, and families who settled in the town. Throughout the buildings are large conical incense burners hanging from the ceiling. These slow-burning coils can last for days or weeks, and each one represents a prayer or wish offered by worshippers. As the incense rises, it's believed to carry those intentions toward the deities. On another side altar are 6 small figures are arranged in a row. These typically represent attendant deities associated with Tian Hao, minor guardian spirits who assist the sea goddess in watching over sailors, merchants, and families who settled in the town. Their presence reflects the hall's origins as a spiritual center for the Fujian community, who relied on divine protection during long maritime journeys. This stone monument honors Kazimierz Kazik Kwiatkowski, the Polish architect and conservation specialist who led major restoration efforts in Hội An during the late 20th century. Kazik's work was instrumental in preserving the town's historic architecture and safeguarding nearby heritage sites like Misan. His contributions helped lay the foundation for Hội An's recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and he is remembered locally as a key figure in protecting the region's cultural identity. Walking through the streets, we passed many street vendors, and this couple clearly showing off fresh outfits made right here in Hoi An. With so many tailoring shops working through the night, it's no surprise people step out the next morning looking like they've had a full wardrobe upgrade. We next passed by the famous Japanese covered bridge, one of Hoi An's most recognizable historic structures. Built in the early 17th century by the Japanese trading community, it served as both a practical crossing and a symbolic link between Japanese, Chinese, and Vietnamese quarters of the town.
Strolling leisurely through the streets of Hoi An, we take in the everyday rhythm of the ancient town, tailors finishing last-minute fittings, vendors setting out their evening displays, and the steady flow of people moving between cafes and riverside stalls.
Walking through the streets of Hoi An feels like drifting through a warm, living river of people. Tourists flow past in every direction, cameras clicking, lanterns swaying overhead, the air buzzing with a dozen languages at once. Even in the crowd, there's a softness to the town. The glow of yellow walls, the scent of street food, and that gentle hum that makes you slow down and take it all in. Our guide brought us to a local lantern-making workshop, where we got a closer look at the different styles of lanterns and the techniques used to create them. From the bamboo frames to the hand-stretched silk, every step is done right here in Hoi An. It's a quick stop, but it really shows how much craftsmanship goes into the lanterns that light up the town each night.
So when I show you, like this, we made this lantern from bamboo, and then we cover it with silk. We have a many different shape of lantern, and we call it different name. You can see this one. The first one, the big on top, it looks like hot air balloon. We call it sunrise. Yeah, upside down means sunset. Brown one, we call it moon. You see the brown one? It's moon. And then the middle one is like this one, the shape. We call it diamond. Then all this lantern, after making, it's foldable.
As daylight fades, the atmosphere shifts, the sky darkens, and one by one the lanterns come to life, filling the streets with warm color. Within minutes, the entire town glows, turning a simple walk into one of Hoi An's most memorable lantern-lit experiences.